Earth had finally achieved peace after centuries of conflict. The year was 2157, and for the first time in human history, all nations worked together under the United Earth Alliance. People celebrated this new era of cooperation as humanity began to reach out to the stars. Frank Nelson stood on the observation deck of the Earth Defense Station Alpha, looking down at the blue planet below. His uniform showed his rank as commander of the small but proud Earth Defense Fleet. At 42 years old, Frank had seen much in his military career, but nothing prepared him for what would happen next. "Commander, we have strange readings at the edge of our solar system," said Lieutenant Eric Ross, his voice tight with worry. Frank moved quickly to the main control panel. The screens showed several large objects moving toward Earth at incredible speed. They weren't answering any communication attempts. "Send alert level 1 to all stations and get me a direct line to Earth Command," Frank ordered, his stomach sinking with dread. But it was already too late. The ships appeared suddenly in Earth orbit, massive and alien in design. Without warning or message, they opened fire. The defense station shook violently as the first blasts hit. "Get everyone to escape pods now," Frank shouted over the blaring alarms. On the planet below, Lisa Nelson was picking up her children from school in Boston when the sky turned bright with strange lights. She looked up, shielding her eyes, not understanding what she was seeing. Minutes later, the first impacts hit the city center. The ground shook like an earthquake as buildings collapsed. Lisa grabbed her children and ran toward the nearest underground station as panic erupted in the streets. All across Earth, similar scenes played out. The alien weapons struck with terrible precision, targeting major cities and military installations. Some were energy beams that vaporized everything they touched. Others were simple but effective. Giant metal rods dropped from orbit, creating impacts like small asteroids. Frank watched in horror from the crippled station as his homeworld burned. The defense fleet fought bravely, but was hopelessly outmatched. Their best weapons barely damaged the alien ships. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the attackers," said Communications Officer Judy Bennett, her face pale with shock. The main screen flickered to life, showing a tall, gray-skinned being with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its voice came through the translator with cold precision. "People of Earth, I am Admiral Vorax of the Varaxian Empire. By order of the Galaxy Council, your civilization has been deemed a future threat to galactic stability. This intervention is necessary to limit your development. Resistance is futile and will only increase casualties." The transmission ended abruptly. Frank stared at the blank screen, rage building inside him. "Sir, we've lost contact with North American Command. European defense grid is down too," reported Eric, his voice breaking. In the following hours, Earth's defenses collapsed completely. The Varaxian ships systematically destroyed military targets before landing troops to secure key locations. The attack was calculated and efficient, designed not to destroy humanity entirely, but to cripple it beyond recovery. 3 days later, in a secret underground bunker beneath what was once Geneva, the few surviving world leaders signed the surrender document. The terms were simple. Earth would submit to Varaxian rule and give up all advanced technology research. What the aliens didn't announce publicly was the cost of their victory. In the initial attack, 1.2 billion humans had perished. What the Galaxy Council records would later call a controlled culling to reduce Earth's population to a manageable level. Frank, who had survived the station's destruction in an escape pod, stood in the rain outside a refugee center in what remained of London. He had learned that Boston was hit in the first wave. His family was gone. He looked up at the alien ship still, visible in the sky, and made a silent promise. The aliens thought they understood humans. They thought this defeat would break the human spirit. They were wrong. Humans don't break. They burn. And from these ashes would come a fire the galaxy had never seen before. 5 years passed since the day Earth burned. The Varaxian occupation forces patrolled the major cities with their tall, 4-eyed soldiers and hovering drone cameras. On the surface, humanity appeared broken and submissive. The puppet government, made up of humans who chose cooperation over resistance, regularly appeared on broadcasts to praise the generosity of their alien overlords. But beneath the surface, something else was happening. 100 feet below the rocky soil of Colorado, Dr. Samantha Wright adjusted her glasses and stared at the alien device on her workbench. At 37, she had once been one of Earth's leading quantum physicists at MIT. Now she led a different kind of research. "Any progress?" asked a deep voice behind her. Samantha turned to see Frank Nelson entering the lab. The former commander had aged well beyond his years, his once dark hair now streaked with gray, a long scar running down the right side of his face from a close encounter with Varaxian troops. "We've figured out how their communication system works," she said, pointing to the disassembled components. "It uses quantum entanglement, but with a twist we never thought of. Once we understand it fully, we can listen to everything they say." Frank nodded, his eyes showing a spark of the first real hope he'd felt in years. "How long?" "A few more days. Professor Garcia thinks he's close to a breakthrough." As if summoned by his name, Alan Garcia walked into the lab. The former linguistics professor had become essential to the resistance, his gift for patterns helping crack the alien language and codes. "I've got something," he said excitedly, his voice low despite the soundproofing of the underground facility. "The supply ships are following a regular schedule. There's a gap in their sensor coverage every 42 hours. It lasts about 6 minutes. Frank's mind immediately turned to the possibilities. "Enough time to get a small team aboard?" "If they're fast and know exactly where they're going," Alan confirmed. This was the opportunity they had been waiting for. In the 5 years since the attack, the remnants of humanity had gone underground in more ways than one. Hidden bunkers, old military facilities, and hastily dug tunnels housed millions of survivors who refused to accept alien rule. While the Varaxians believed they were monitoring a defeated species, humans were studying their enemies, learning their weaknesses, and preparing. In another part of the facility, Major Daniel Powell ran his team through drills again. 20 men and women, all that remained of various special forces units from around the world, moved with practiced precision through a mock-up of a Varaxian ship corridor. "Faster," Daniel called out. "We won't get second chances up there." Lieutenant Kelly Summers, a former Navy SEAL, finished the course first, her time better than anyone else's by 5 seconds. "If the intel is good, I can get us to their command center in under 4 minutes, she said, barely out of breath. Daniel nodded. "Let's hope the intel is good." Back in the main control room of the facility, over 50 people worked at various stations. Maps showed hidden resistance bases across the planet. Communications channels, carefully hidden from Varaxian detection, kept the scattered human forces connected. "They think we're beaten," Samantha told Frank as they watched the activity. "They think we're processing our grief according to their psychological models." Frank's face hardened. They don't understand human vengeance. That was the key difference. The Galaxy Council races, with their careful biological engineering and predictable psychology, could never anticipate what humans would do when pushed to the edge. In labs across the hidden network, scientists worked to reverse engineer alien technology. They weren't just copying it, they were improving it, adapting it to human needs and thinking. "Commander," a young communications officer called out. "We're getting a message from the Asian base. They've successfully tested the stealth field generator." Frank allowed himself a small smile. "Then we're ready for the next phase. Tell Major Powell to prepare his team. In 3 days, Operation Silent Blade begins." For the first time since the attack, Earth was ready to strike back. The Varaxians and their Galaxy Council would soon learn that humans don't stay down. They rise, they remember, and they return with a vengeance that would shock the stars. The small stealth shuttle rose silently through Earth's atmosphere, its experimental hull absorbing radar and other detection signals. Inside, Major Daniel Powell checked his weapon one last time. Around him, 19 other Special Forces operators sat in tense silence. 2 minutes to docking position," said the pilot, her voice steady despite the danger. Daniel nodded and looked at his team. They were the best survivors from military units around the world. American Delta Force, British SAS, Russian Spetsnaz, Chinese Snow Leopards, and others. Now they simply called themselves ghosts. "Remember the plan," Daniel said quietly. "We need the command codes intact. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary. Stick to the shadows." Lieutenant Kelly Summers checked her specialized equipment. "Nerve disruptors ready. One shot will paralyze a Varaxian for 6 hours without killing them." The shuttle approached the massive Varaxian command ship during a scheduled supply delivery. Using the brief sensor gap Professor Garcia had discovered, they attached to an unused maintenance hatch on the ship's underside. "We're locked on," the pilot confirmed. "Good hunting." Daniel led the way into the alien vessel. The interior was designed for beings taller than humans, with strange purple lighting that cast eerie shadows. The team moved in practiced formation, their steps silent, their dark suits blending with the shadows. "Security patrol coming," whispered Sergeant John Ward, monitoring a small device that detected Varaxian life signs. The team pressed against the wall as 2 tall alien guards walked past, discussing something in their clicking language. Once clear, they continued toward the command center. "Remember," Kelly said softly to Daniel, "we need the command codes intact. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary." Daniel nodded. "This way." Using the ship schematics Samantha had pieced together from stolen data, they navigated the winding corridors. Twice they had to hide from patrols. Once they had to use nerve disruptors on an engineer who spotted them. They worked quickly, placing small quantum entanglement devices at key locations throughout the ship. These would give Earth's resistance real-time intelligence on all Council communications. After 20 tense minutes, they reached the main data core, a pulsing cylinder of light and energy. "Cover me," Daniel said as he and Kelly approached the terminal. Kelly kept watch while Daniel connected a device Samantha had created. The small disk lit up as it began copying the Varaxian database. Progress numbers climbed slowly: 10%, 25%, 40%. "Hurry," Kelly whispered. "We've been aboard too long." An alarm suddenly blared through the ship. Daniel cursed under his breath. "They found the engineer," Sergeant Ward reported. "Security teams are moving to search the ship." Daniel checked the device. 65%, 70%. 2 minutes until we have company," Ward warned. Kelly positioned herself at the doorway, nerve disruptor ready. "Get that data. We'll handle whatever comes." The rest of the team spread out in defensive positions. The distant sound of running feet echoed down the corridor. The device beeped softly. 90%, 95%, complete. "Got it," Daniel said, unplugging the device and securing it in a protected pocket. Time to leave. But their primary exit route was now blocked by security teams. Ward checked his tactical display. "Maintenance shaft 3 is clear. It leads to the lower hangar." They moved quickly through the ship, avoiding main corridors. When they encountered 2 Varaxian engineers, Kelly's nerve disruptor dropped them before they could raise an alarm. The team reached the hangar just as security forces began to sweep the area. Their shuttle was too far away now. "New plan," Daniel said, pointing to a small Varaxian transport ship. "We're stealing that." Using access codes from the stolen database, they boarded the alien craft. Ward, who had studied Varaxian ship controls, took the pilot's seat. "Hang on," he said, firing up the engines. "This will get bumpy." The stolen ship blasted out of the hangar as alarms continued to sound. Several Varaxian fighters gave chase, but Ward pushed the stolen vessel into Earth's atmosphere at a steep angle. "They won't follow us down," he said, fighting the controls. "Their ships aren't designed for atmospheric combat." Hours later, the team landed at a hidden base in the Ural Mountains. Despite burn marks on the hull and a damaged engine, they had made it. When Daniel handed the data device to Samantha, her eyes widened in disbelief. "This isn't just their battle plans," she said, examining the stolen information. "This is their entire navigational database. Every world, every outpost, every council member's homeworld." Daniel smiled grimly. Then I suggest we start planning some visits. Hidden deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, the main resistance base buzzed with new energy. The data stolen from the Varaxian command ship had given humanity hope. In a large chamber converted from an old missile silo, Earth's remaining military and scientific leaders gathered around a holographic display showing the Galaxy Council's territory. Chief Engineer Gregory Foster ran his hand through his gray beard as he studied the alien ship designs. At 58, he had once built spacecraft for NASA. Now he was helping design weapons of war. We can adapt their propulsion technology to our own ships, he explained to the gathered leaders. Their faster-than-light drive isn't that different from our theoretical models. They just solve problems we were still working on. Admiral Patricia Wells, once commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, nodded. How long until we have a working prototype? 3 months, Gregory replied. Maybe less. We have factories hidden in mountain ranges and beneath ocean floors already producing components. While the Council believed humans were still recovering from the attack, Earth had secretly transformed its remaining industrial capacity into a war machine like none the galaxy had seen. Underground facilities around the world worked day and night, building ships and weapons designed specifically to target Varaxian and Council weaknesses. In another section of the base, Dr. Elizabeth Chan studied genetic samples taken from captured Varaxians. Her lab was sealed off from the rest with multiple safety protocols in place. Their biology is fascinating, she told Frank Nelson during his inspection tour. Their nervous system has vulnerability we can exploit. Frank looked at the samples with cold eyes. Can you develop something that targets only their military personnel? I won't authorize indiscriminate weapons. Elizabeth nodded. We're better than them. This isn't genocide, this is precise justice. She showed Frank her work on a screen. This compound affects only their species and can be calibrated to specific genetic markers. It targets their motor control system, paralyzing but not killing. We can deliver it as a gas or through water systems. Frank studied the data. Unlike the Varaxians, who had killed over 1 billion humans without warning, Earth would strike with precision. The weapon Elizabeth was developing would allow them to disable Varaxian forces without harming civilians. And it works on all Council Sioux races? Frank asked. We can modify it for each species, Elizabeth confirmed. The data from the command ship included detailed biological information on all 27 Council member races. In the main hangar bay, the first human-built starship was taking shape. The UES Nemesis wasn't pretty. Its hull was a patchwork of Earth metals and recovered alien materials. But it was built for one purpose: delivering Earth's revenge. Gregory proudly showed Admiral Wells the nearly complete vessel. She'll carry our special payload and have enough firepower to break through their defenses, he explained. We're building 6 more just like her. The Varaxians won't know what hit them. Admiral Wells ran her hand along the ship's hull. How many can we send out at once? With the pilots we've trained? All 7, Gregory answered. The Varaxians were careless. They left too many of their technical manuals in databases we could access. Their arrogance will be their downfall. In the command center, Frank met with Samantha and the other resistance leaders. The holographic display now showed their first targets: Varaxian military bases throughout the solar system. Mars will be first, Frank said, pointing to the red planet where the Varaxians had established their main base in the solar system. Then their outposts on Europa and Titan. We hit them all simultaneously, using Elizabeth's weapon. No Varaxian soldier in our system will be able to fight back. Samantha pointed to the larger galactic map. And after we secure our solar system? Frank's eyes hardened. Then we take the fight to them, to their homeworlds, to their colonies, and finally to the Galaxy Council itself. The leaders nodded in agreement. Humanity had suffered, but they had not broken. Instead, they had planned, prepared, and built in secret. Now they were ready to show the galaxy that Earth's revenge would be both terrible and just. The Council gave us no choice, Admiral Wells said solemnly. They must learn that humans don't simply die quietly. The final preparations began for Operation First Strike. In 2 weeks, the Galaxy Council would learn the terrible mistake they had made when they attacked Earth. On Mars, Commander Zex of the Varaxian Security Force enjoyed his morning ritual. He stood on the observation platform of the main base, watching the red dust blow across the landscape. After 5 years of easy duty overseeing the conquered humans, he had grown comfortable. The native species had been properly subdued, their spirit broken by the necessary culling. Zex's communication device buzzed. "Sir, we're detecting unusual atmospheric readings in Section 7, reported his lieutenant. "Probably just another dust storm," Zex replied lazily. "Run the standard checks." Minutes later, Zex felt a strange tingling in his limbs. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly as his muscles began to stiffen. Around him, other Varaxians dropped to the floor, their tall bodies rigid and unmoving. Panic filled Zex's mind as he realized he could no longer speak or move. He could only watch and think as humans in protective suits entered the command center. Captain Steve Rogers led the Earth Strike team into the Varaxian base. The paralytic agent had worked perfectly, deployed through the ventilation system. Not a single shot had been fired. "Secure all areas," Steve ordered his team. "Download their databases and prepare the broadcast." The humans moved efficiently through the base, stepping around the paralyzed aliens. Within an hour, they controlled the entire Mars facility. Similar operations were happening simultaneously on Europa, Titan, and every other Varaxian outpost in the solar system. In the command center, Steve activated the communication system that broadcast to all Varaxian ships and bases. He spoke clearly into the microphone, knowing his words would be translated. "This is Captain Steve Rogers of the United Earth Alliance. As of this moment, all Varaxian military forces in the Sol system have been neutralized. Your personnel are alive but paralyzed. They will remain this way until they are safely transported out of our system." He paused, letting his words sink in. "This is human mercy. You will receive what you did not give us." On the Galactic Council's central world of Nexus Prime, High Counselor Zathrax received the reports with increasing alarm. The tall, blue-skinned alien paced in his ornate chamber as his aides delivered the news. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his security chiefs. "We destroyed their defensive capabilities. Their technology was pre-FTL. They should be decades from recovering." Security Director Velox, a reptilian being with smooth green scales, bowed nervously. "It appears we severely underestimated human adaptability and their response to trauma, High Counselor. Our psychologists predicted they would enter a generational mourning period. Instead they what?" Zathrax snapped. "Instead they got angry, sir. Very, very angry." Zathrax slammed his 3-fingered hand on the table. "Send the 7th Fleet to Earth immediately. Crush this rebellion before it spreads." But the news grew worse. Reports came in that human ships had been detected near Varaxian colony worlds, somehow using faster-than-light travel that the Council believed was beyond their capabilities. On Earth, Admiral Wells monitored the operations from the underground command center. Screens showed successful missions across the solar system. Every Varaxian military installation had been neutralized without a single human casualty. "Phase 1 complete," she announced to the leaders gathered around her. "All Sol system targets secured." Frank Nelson nodded with grim satisfaction. "Launch Phase 2. Send the Nemesis to the Varaxian homeworld. It's time they understood the consequences of their actions." The UES Nemesis, along with 6 sister ships, prepared for humanity's first interstellar attack. Each vessel carried Elizabeth's paralytic agent, modified for the specific worlds they would target. Captain Ryan Owens took command of the Nemesis, his face solemn as he addressed his crew. "Today we carry Earth's message to the stars. We do not seek destruction or genocide. We seek justice. Remember what they did to our world, to our families, but also remember that we are better than them." The 7 ships activated their faster-than-light drives, technology reverse-engineered from Varaxian designs but improved by human innovation. They vanished from Earth orbit, heading toward their targets. Across the galaxy, alarm spread through the Council races. How had humans developed such capabilities so quickly? How had they defeated the occupation forces without firing a shot? Video Truth was simple but terrifying. They had awakened something the galaxy had never seen before, a species that grew stronger, not weaker, when pushed to the edge of extinction. The 7 Earthships appeared simultaneously in orbit around different council worlds, their sudden arrival triggering panic and confusion. The UES Nemesis emerged above Varaxa, the homeworld of the species that had attacked Earth. The blue-green planet, with its 3 moons and sprawling cities, had never expected to face an enemy at its doorstep. Captain Ryan Owens stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, watching the Varaxian defense ships scramble to respond. Their movements were disorganized, betraying their shock at seeing a human vessel in their home system. "They're trying to lock weapons," reported Navigation Officer Linda Chen. "Their defense grid is activating." Ryan nodded calmly. "Deploy countermeasures. Prepare to broadcast on all frequencies." The Nemesis released dozens of small drones that generated interference patterns, confusing the Varaxian targeting systems. Human scientists had studied Varaxian technology for 5 years and knew exactly how to disrupt it. "Sir, we have 7 Varaxian heavy cruisers approaching," said Weapons Officer Pete Johnson. "They're charging weapons." "Hold position," Ryan ordered. "Let them fire first." When the Varaxian ships launched their attack, the energy blasts dissipated, harmlessly against the Nemesis's shields, technology that humans had not only copied but improved upon. Ryan opened a galaxy-wide channel, his message broadcast to every council world. "This is Captain Ryan Owens of the United Earth Alliance. 5 years ago you came to Earth without warning. You murdered over 1 billion of our people in what you called a necessary intervention to prevent our destabilizing influence on galactic politics." He paused, letting his words reach across thousands of worlds. "Today, we demonstrate that humans do not forgive such actions. We do not forget." On the Varaxian homeworld, citizens watched in horror as the human ship easily withstood their military's best weapons. In the capital city, panic spread as rumors flew about the terrible revenge the humans might take. Admiral Vertox, supreme commander of the Varaxian fleet, ordered all available ships to defend the homeworld. Destroy that human vessel at all costs. But on 6 other council worlds, the same scene was playing out. Human ships appeared, immune to defensive fire, broadcasting the same message of judgment. On Nexus Prime, the council's central world, Colonel Kelly Summers led a small team on a different mission. Using stealth technology, they slipped past the planet's defenses and landed near the council chamber itself. "Security is lighter than expected," Kelly noted as her team moved through the shadows. "They never imagined anyone could reach them. Here." The team carried specialized equipment designed by Samantha Wright. They quickly reached the council's emergency broadcast system, a powerful transmitter that could reach every world in council space simultaneously. Inside the council chamber, High Counselor Zathrax was in emergency session with representatives from other species. "How did they develop faster than light travel so quickly?" demanded the Tralaxian delegate, his tentacles waving in agitation. "Your experts said it would take them centuries." "How did they bypass all our early warning systems?" asked the Morvan representative, her crystalline body glittering with stress patterns. Before Zathrax could respond, the chamber screens activated without warning. The face of Dr. Samantha Wright appeared on every display. "Attention, Galaxy Council," she said, her voice calm but firm. "You have been found guilty of crimes against Earth. Your deliberate attack on our world, resulting in over 1 billion deaths, violated your own laws against unprovoked genocide." The council members stared in shock. How had humans accessed their most secure communication system? "Starting today," Samantha continued, "all Varaxian military personnel throughout council space will be neutralized. We have deployed our agent to every Varaxian base and ship. Your soldiers will live, but they will not fight." As if to prove her point, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. On hundreds of worlds and ships, Varaxian troops collapsed, perfectly alive but completely paralyzed. "This is just the beginning," Samantha concluded. "The Earth Alliance will arrive at Nexus Prime in 7 days. Prepare for justice." The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. The most powerful governing body in the galaxy had just been threatened by a species they had tried to crush, and there seemed to be nothing they could do to stop it. 7 days later, the UES Nemesis and its sister ships arrived at Nexus Prime. The beautiful blue-white planet, home to the Galaxy Council for over 2,000 years, had never been threatened before. Its orbital defenses were considered the strongest in known space. But they did nothing as the human fleet took position around the Council Tower, a massive structure that rose from the planet's surface into low orbit. Inside the Council chamber, representatives from 50 alien species watched in stunned silence as human soldiers entered. Colonel Kelly Summers led the team, her face showing no emotion as she approached the central platform where High Counselor Zathrak stood. "The chamber is secured," Kelly reported into her communicator. "Ready for the delegation." Minutes later, Frank Nelson and Samantha Wright entered, followed by Admiral Wells and several other human leaders. They took positions at the speaker's podium, traditionally reserved for council members only. Zathrax's blue skin darkened with anger. "This outrage will not stand. You have no authority here." Frank looked at the alien leader calmly. "We have the same authority you claimed when you attacked Earth, the authority of superior firepower." The galaxy watched in shock as humans took control of the council chamber. Every world with communication technology could see the proceedings as Kelly's team had made sure the emergency broadcast system remained active. Samantha stepped forward, her voice steady as she read from a tablet. "The Galaxy Council is hereby charged with conspiracy to commit genocide, with the unprovoked attack on Earth resulting in 1.2 billion deaths. Under the Council's own legal code, Section 47.3, such actions demand trial and punishment." Guards brought forward High Counselor Zathrax in restraints. The once proud leader now looked diminished, his forearms bound behind his back. "You cannot do this," he sputtered. "We are the Council. We maintain order in the galaxy." "Your concept of order included the slaughter of innocents," Samantha replied. "Today, Earth delivers justice." Admiral Wells activated a holographic display, showing recovered files from the Council's own archives. The images played for all the galaxy to see. "We have access to your most secure records," she explained. "The truth can no longer be hidden." The records revealed the shocking reason behind the attack on Earth. It wasn't because humans were dangerous. It was because Council predictive models showed that human innovation and adaptability would eventually outpace Council control. Humanity was attacked not for any crime, but for their potential to change the established order. "You feared us before you knew us," Samantha told the assembled representatives. "Now you have created exactly what you feared." Many council members appeared shocked by the revelation. Some had clearly not known the truth behind the attack on Earth. The Morven representative, a crystalline being named Shirak, rose from her seat. "I must speak. Many of us on the council were told that Earth had developed illegal weapons and was planning to use them against other worlds. We were never informed of this preemptive culling." Similar statements came from other representatives. It became clear that Zathrax and the Varaxian Empire, with support from only a few powerful council races, had orchestrated the attack on Earth and lied to the other members. Frank addressed the chamber again. "Today we could destroy your worlds as you tried to destroy ours. We have the power now. But unlike you, we choose justice over vengeance." He announced Earth's terms. Zathrax and the other leaders responsible for the attack would stand trial under council law. The Varaxian Empire would pay reparations to Earth, and most importantly, the council system would be reformed, with Earth given a seat at the table. "The old council is dissolved," Frank declared. "In its place, we will build something better, not a hierarchy of power, but an alliance of equals." As human soldiers led Zathrax away, he hissed at Frank. "You think you've won, but you've only proven our fears correct. Humans are too dangerous to be allowed power." Frank looked the alien directly in his 4 eyes. "No. We've proven that attacking humans was your greatest mistake. We don't seek domination. We seek justice." Throughout, The galaxy billions of beings watched as a new era began, an era shaped by humanity's response to tragedy. 7 days later, the UES Nemesis and its sister ships arrived at Nexus Prime. The beautiful blue-white planet, home to the Galaxy Council for over 2,000 years, had never been threatened before. Its orbital defenses were considered the strongest in known space. But they did nothing as the human fleet took position around the Council Tower, a massive structure that rose from the planet's surface into low orbit. Inside the Council chamber, representatives from 50 alien species watched in stunned silence as human soldiers entered. Colonel Kelly Summers led the team, her face showing no emotion as she approached the central platform where High Counselor Zathrak stood. "The chamber is secured," Kelly reported into her communicator. "Ready for the delegation." Minutes later, Frank Nelson and Samantha Wright entered, followed by Admiral Wells and several other human leaders. They took positions at the speaker's podium, traditionally reserved for council members only. Zathrax's blue skin darkened with anger. "This outrage will not stand. You have no authority here." Frank looked at the alien leader calmly. "We have the same authority you claimed when you attacked Earth, the authority of superior firepower." The galaxy watched in shock as humans took control of the council chamber. Every world with communication technology could see the proceedings as Kelly's team had made sure the emergency broadcast system remained active. Samantha stepped forward, her voice steady as she read from a tablet. "The Galaxy Council is hereby charged with conspiracy to commit genocide, with the unprovoked attack on Earth resulting in 1.2 billion deaths. Under the Council's own legal code, Section 47.3, such actions demand trial and punishment." Guards brought forward High Counselor Zathrax in restraints. The once proud leader now looked diminished, his forearms bound behind his back. "You cannot do this," he sputtered. "We are the Council. We maintain order in the galaxy." "Your concept of order included the slaughter of innocents," Samantha replied. "Today, Earth delivers justice." Admiral Wells activated a holographic display, showing recovered files from the Council's own archives. The images played for all the galaxy to see. "We have accessed your most secure records," she explained. "The truth can no longer be hidden." The records revealed the shocking reason behind the attack on Earth. It wasn't because humans were dangerous. It was because Council predictive models showed that human innovation and adaptability would eventually outpace Council control. Humanity was attacked not for any crime, but for their potential to change the established order. "You feared us before you knew us," Samantha told the assembled representatives. "Now you have created exactly what you feared." Many council members appeared shocked by the revelation. Some had clearly not known the truth behind the attack on Earth. The Morven representative, a crystalline being named Shirak, rose from her seat. "I must speak. Many of us on the council were told that Earth had developed illegal weapons and was planning to use them against other worlds. We were never informed of this preemptive culling." Similar statements came from other representatives. It became clear that Zathrax and the Varaxian Empire, with support from only a few powerful council races, had orchestrated the attack on Earth and lied to the other members. Frank addressed the chamber again. "Today we could destroy your worlds as you tried to destroy ours. We have the power now. But unlike you, we choose justice over vengeance." He announced Earth's terms. Zathrax and the other leaders responsible for the attack would stand trial under Council law. The Varaxian Empire would pay reparations to Earth, and most importantly, the Council system would be reformed, with Earth given a seat at the table. "The old Council is dissolved," Frank declared. "In its place, we will build something better, not a hierarchy of power, but an alliance of equals." As human soldiers led Zathrax away, he hissed at Frank. "You think you've won, but you've only proven our fears correct. Humans are too dangerous to be allowed power." Frank looked the alien directly in his 4 eyes. "No. We've proven that attacking humans was your greatest mistake. We don't seek domination. We seek justice." Throughout the galaxy, billions of beings watched as a new era began, an era shaped by humanity's response to tragedy.